President Trump will be making an historic visit today to the Department of Justice for a speech laying out his vision for restoring law and order and ending the weaponization of the Department of Justice and our law enforcement agencies. Here's the president yesterday.
We have a great Justice Department. Pam Bondi is so fantastic. We don't want to have crime in the streets. We don't want to have people pushed into subways and killed, and then the person that did the pushing ends up in a 15-year trial and gets off scot-free. Yep. We want to have justice, and we want to have safety in our cities as well as our communities. And we'll be talking about immigration. We'll be talking about a lot of things, the complete gamut.
And joining me right now is the woman tasked with the job, the nation's U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi. AG, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Maria. It's great to be with you.
And, of course, you sat and testified under oath to the Senate Judiciary Committee, the same thing, that you would only follow the facts and the law. Tell us how you will de-weaponize the DOJ.
Well, Maria, we've been doing it since day one, and we're going to continue to do that. President Trump's mission was very clear. His directive was make America safe again. That's what we're going to do. No more weaponization. We're going to go back to fighting basic crime, getting these cartels out of our country by securing our borders, prosecuting the worst of the worst, seizing the drugs, which is what President Trump has directed us to do since the second he's been in office, and lock up the violent criminals as long as we can behind bars or seek the death penalty. And that's what we've been doing. You know, we've signed...
They're going to kill him? Holy shit.
Death warrants to seek the death penalty since he's been in office. It's not business as usual. We are going back to the basics, fighting violent crime. And taking these drugs off the street is the main component of keeping our kids safe.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, because people have been afraid to walk the streets, basically, because there's no accountability. You have to go to the drugstore and find your toothpaste locked up. Tell me how you're going to do it and what...
Dude, it's so bad. How many of you guys live in an area where just like anything over $7 is behind a jewel case? And there's like a key that, yes, it's so fucking annoying. It's such a waste of time. I hate it.
You can tell us about the president's speech today at the DOJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he has never been to the Department of Justice.
That's amazing.
And it's right, and I can't wait for him to be there to show that he is going to make America safe, that he has been making America safe. Just since he's been in office, 2,000 kilos of fentanyl have been taken off the streets. It's crazy what he's done. 18,000 kilos of methamphetamine. These are the things that are killing our kids from coast to coast, whether it's St. Louis to 170,000 pills of fentanyl in Utah. That's one life per pill. And he has been fighting drugs, fighting the cartels, and we are going to keep America safe. And, you know, the weaponization has ended. They are trying to weaponize against Elon Musk, and we are not going to let that happen either.
See, that's the big thing, right? Is that, like, obviously drug dealers, everybody is like, yeah, for sure. But there's like this new type of like targeted political violence that people are doing. And there's like an entire ecosystem around it, because you have these people that get radicalized on the internet, and you have these groups of people on the internet that are super radical. And what they end up doing is they create a feedback loop where these people feel good about doing things that are against the law. That's really what happens a lot. They become zealots? Yeah, well, they get radicalized on the internet, and then they go out and they do something bad, and then they post photos of it in some cases, or talk about doing it, and then they get positive, you know, like reinforcement for doing it. So it creates like this feedback loop that just makes them do it way more.
Well, that's right. And we saw all the vandalism to the Tesla cars this week. President Trump will reportedly invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which allows him to fast-track deportations of criminals that are illegal migrants. ICE also arrested more than 32,000 illegal migrants in the first 50 days of the president's second term, including those 14,000 convicted of crimes. AG, I want to get your take on how you're going to do this, because you're facing pushback, right? The sanctuary cities are saying, no, 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 no. We are sanctuary. We're going to continue sanctuary. So where is the accountability for some of these sanctuary cities that are working against you?
Yeah, well, you're seeing what's happening. We're suing them. We're suing the states. They will know.
Not enough. You have to find the people that are advocating for it in the positions and then hold them criminally responsible as accomplices or enablers for crimes. Not enough. You do that, this stops overnight. And by the way, I think that they are. I do. I agree with this. I think absolutely they are.
Longer be sanctuary cities. We will come in there. We will arrest you. We will
arrest the governor. Yeah, if the governor is enabling and preventing the federal government from doing their job and actively harboring illegal aliens without cooperating with the federal government, yes, absolutely. Yep. That's illegal. That's right.
You. We will deport
Bro, that's
you.
hardcore. It's not hardcore. The problem is that it's common sense for anybody who hasn't been radicalized in the opposite direction. Obviously, when you have a apparatus that is effectively providing cover for people to commit crimes and to effectively just fuck things up, then yeah, these people should be held accountable. It's common sense. And the problem is that lawsuits and these other bullshit things, nobody has any skin in the game. So there's no, like, they're not going to care about a lawsuit. They're not going to care about some oh, well, we're going to reprimand you publicly about this. Doesn't matter. You've got to actually find it and hold people accountable specifically. That's what you have to do. You cut out the disease, not the symptom.
Crime,
yeah.
You will go to prison in our country for as long as possible. If you're an illegal alien, we will deport you. It's that simple. That's what's been happening. Our federal government is working great now. You know, these liberal mayors, governors, we're not going to put up with it. I've warned them. If they're not listening, they will continue. We will continue to sue them. We will continue to pull their federal funding until they comply with federal law, because our job is to make America safe again. And I don't know how, Maria, they can quarrel with that.
Well, I mean, you're sending messages out that, there will be accountability. And I think everyone has to agree that you want accountability for people who are, trafficking drugs and humans. So that's great. But
the accountability has to happen to the people that enabled it. If you don't hold the people that enabled it accountable, it will keep happening. Because there will be a new flock of people who think that it's worth it for them to do it because they agree with it for some reason, right? They have some ideological reason. So you have to have a punishment. Basically, you have to create a system where people stop doing, where people that are doing something wrong are not rewarded for it. And they're actively punished. Because if the punishment for something is worse than the theoretical reward, people stop doing the action. It's very simple. So all you need to do is increase the punishment and make it personal. To do what? What are you saying they're doing? I'm saying that the people that are in the sanctuary cities are enabling human trafficking, and they're enabling drugs, and they're enabling crime to happen in that country, in that city. So what I think should happen is that if these people, next time one of these people is like a rapist or something like that, hold one of the government officials accountable as being an accomplice to that, knowing that that was happening and being okay with it. You do that, this immediately goes away. Bro, what? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what about state sovereignty? State sovereignty doesn't overrule federal law. That's not the way it works.
Also have seen real weaponization against President Trump, against the Republicans over the last 10 years.
That's right.
I lived it, the Russia collusion story. Will anyone be held accountable for the Russia collusion lie
Has to be
that
government
the Clinton
officials.
campaign and the Democrats
Has
came
to
up
be.
with against President Trump that ripped our
Do
country
that, it
apart?
goes away immediately.
Maria, when we say we're ending the weaponization, we're ending it. People will be held accountable who weaponized our government. You know, there were a lot of pardons out there, but there were a lot of people who were not pardoned. And if you targeted someone, if you went after someone because of their political affiliation, we will be investigating you. We will be looking at you, because that's the weaponization, and it has to stop. For instance, look what they're continuing to do, as I said, to Elon Musk. They are targeting Tesla dealerships, the stations where you charge a Tesla. They're vandalizing cars. I have already directed an investigation be opened to see how is this being funded, who is behind this, doing this. We have people we're locking up on that.
Find out who's funding it. And if there's people that are funding it, hold them accountable. Then it'll stop. Again, what you have to do, the problem is that all of the people that show up to burn down the Teslas, these are just retards, right? These are retards that in a lot of cases, maybe they got paid, but the odds are they got whipped up into a frenzy by Reddit and they think that they're fighting against Hitler. That's the symptom. The disease are the people that are making it happen to begin with. That's it. Well, there has been the poor officials didn't commit those crimes. They just allowed them to stay in our country for long enough for illegals to commit them. So, yeah, exactly, guys. No, you can't possibly hold the government official accountable for the negative outcomes of their policy. No, you can't. That's outrageous. No, you can't. I think you can. And I think if you do, this stops immediately.
We have someone in jail right now.
By the way, I think about corporate, like the entire idea of like the corporate veil and corporations not being held, and people that run corporations not being held personally responsible because it's a corporation. I view this the same way. Start prosecuting. Like, let's say, something happens and there's a safety risk that gets ignored because they just want to save money. Launch an investigation into that company, find out who made that decision, and then put them in jail. Done. Yep. Actually put them in jail. Like, unless you specifically go after somebody and you specifically crucify a person, not a company, not an apparatus, a person, that makes it stop. Because they're afraid of that. People are afraid of that happening. Crucify? Well, not literally crucify, okay? Not literally. Metaphorically, okay? But no one would ever sign shit if that happens. I think that they would. I think they would, absolutely. You think they're just going to all decide to go out of business? No. They'd figure out better ways to do it, and they'd be more specific. You think they're going to say, yeah, let's just stop making money and stop selling to the biggest economy in the world? No, I don't think so.
The dealerships, they threw a Molotov cocktail through a dealership. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison. So if you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you're funding this, we're coming after you. We're going to find out who you are.
Thank fucking God.
I mean, in terms of the Russia collusion story, is there any work on that? Are you going to try to find out who, in fact, pushed this lie that Trump colluded back in 2017?
Maria, we have teams of lawyers working nonstop on every issue you can imagine to end the weaponization. And what you're saying, that will put an end to the weaponization, all the lies, everything that's happened. It's over. It's a new day. We also want to move forward and fight violent crime.
Of course. And you also recently formed an internal DOJ team to work with DOJ on the cost-cutting measures. What can you tell us? Because they're going to dig into the nation's top law enforcement divisions, reviewing their internal budget reviews to find savings, right?
Yeah, the massive amounts of money that have been wasted. Truly, we know. I don't think any of us, Elon, couldn't even dream how big the massive amounts of money were that's been taken from your tax dollars, from my tax dollars,
I think a lot of people
and just squandered away to foreign countries all over the world, the USA, the EPA, and they're fighting us on that. They're trying to force us to pay this money out. We're not going to do it. We have teams of lawyers fighting to protect our tax dollars, and we're going to continue to do that. Of course, we're going to lose in these liberal district courts, but we will win in the Supreme Court. We will prevail. Donald Trump will control the budget. these agencies will control where their money goes. You know, it was a setup from the beginning by all of these liberal agencies that when we came in here, all this money would still be flowing out. But they were caught. Now they've been exposed.
Yeah, somebody says, I feel bad for people that just got a Tesla last year. Now he has to look over a soldier for lunatics. I think that, I mean, the amount of damage that people like, I don't think that Teslas are probably getting destroyed in mass. You know, like realistically, I don't think it's really happening. But I'm sure it's just like if it happens, people talk about it a lot. So it's I think they're not. No, I mean, because there's just a lot of cars out there, right? And yeah, they're vandalized daily. Yeah, but what I'm saying is like if they're like there's a 99% chance that if you have a Tesla, nobody's going to vandalize your Tesla, right? Realistically. Even if it happens every day, there's probably millions of Teslas or hundreds of thousands of Teslas in the country, right? Now, I'm just being like honest about it, right? This is probably a very, very minority thing, but that doesn't make it okay. I'm just saying it's not like cars are stolen every day. Yeah, cars are stolen every day. They're targeted. I think they are too, and it doesn't make it any better, but I'm just saying that, like, don't let media alarmism make you think that you have to be worried about this personally. Like, yeah, maybe like, you know, keep the camera on, make sure you have the camera like that on. But otherwise, you don't have to be like hyper fucking vigilant about this and freak out about it. And I'm just being reasonable, right? It's not as big as it is. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
And we will find all of them and all of our great agencies who work so well together will protect Americans and Americans' tax dollars. Thanks to the hard work of Elon and Doge.
And you also want the public to trust the FBI. I mean, this is our leading law enforcement agency. We need everybody to trust the FBI. And I'd like to see some accountability. Can you take us from a 30,000 feet look at what happened here? How did it become so political, AJ?
You know, Maria, in my wildest dreams, I never realized how bad it was. Yeah. But now that we have Kash Patel in there, and I'll tell you, in the Justice Department directly, it was totally weaponized. All the Jack Smith prosecutors are gone. All these agents at the FBI who are weaponizing government are gone. And that's where we're able to find the good men and women who want to be out there, who want to be fighting violent.
By the way, like my faith in her doing this is like not really super high because she didn't get the Epstein files. Like, I do want to bring that up, is that, like, she said that she was going to release the Epstein files, and then that didn't happen. So let her cook? No, I get that, right? But, like, if you tell me something's going to happen, then it doesn't happen, that lowers the probability that I'm going to believe you the next time that you say something is going to happen. That's just me. Right? I don't know what to say.
Crime, who want to be keeping America safe, who want to be fighting terrorism. You know, last week, Director Radcliffe, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, and I, we got to be at Dulles Airport in the middle of the night and greet a plane coming in from Pakistan with one of the worst terrorists in the world on the plane. And we got to thank the great men and women of the FBI. And that's what people don't see. The ones who are out there, they had spent a week in Pakistan getting this guy out of there. These people are second to none. Those are the real agents, and that's what we want to do, restore their integrity, restore the integrity of the Department of Justice, and show all the great things that at the direction of Donald Trump we're going to do for the next 4 years to keep America safe and make America safe again.
AJ, on the sanctuary cities thing, I know you've got all of these lawsuits out for people who are obstructing justice, obstructing your efforts. Are you saying that by the end of this 4 years, there will be no more sanctuary cities?
No way. Okay. No way. Wow. No more sanctuary cities. I wouldn't even say 4 years. I'd say give it to the end of the year. Sanctuary cities are over. There are no more.
I mean, I believe it when I see it, as I said with the Epstein files. Like, I agree with this. I hope this is true. But I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. That's the way I see it. Yeah, that's a bold statement. That's a whole lot.
sanctuary cities as far as the federal government's concerned. What a sanctuary city means is they are harboring criminals.
Me the money.
They are harboring illegal aliens. And if you're tipping someone off when there is going to be an ICE raid, DHS raid, we will find you and we will prosecute you. That jeopardizes the life.
You can't go and prosecute them a little bit. You have to put them in jail for like 20 years, publicize the trial, put them on blast, make everybody know about it. Like, that is the way you stop this shit from happening. That is the way you do it. Because you do that, and this shit goes away instantaneously. It does. For 20 years? Let's see. If somebody tips off a group of illegal immigrants for a raid, should they go to jail for 20 years? Yeah, I'd support that. Yep. Because if you do that, you could put the agents that could come and do those arrests at risk. Because now, because the the people that are there know that they're coming, they could leave bombs there. They could leave other types of biological weapons there. They could be ready for them and shoot them. There could be anything like that. And so I think the problem, it's kind of like with swatting, for example. So that never happened. Yeah, okay. So I think that a good parallel to this is swatting. So most swattings don't result in somebody getting killed. But I think a person who's doing it should be prosecuted as if they were. Because the goal is to hurt somebody. And it's risk management, exactly, yes. And so that's really it. Not many. Some do. Yes, it happens. And it happens. And I'm sure ICE agents have been attacked and shot by illegal migrants as well. I'm sure it's happened. It's rare, but it happens. The point is that swatting is attempted murder. Well, what I'm saying is that it is attempted murder by second or third degree, right? Like, not legally, but just by a second or third, like, level of removal. And what I'm saying is that this isn't really that much different to me. Because what you're effectively doing is you're priming a group of people that are, by definition, categorically criminals, and oftentimes are doing criminal activities on top of that. You're priming them to be aware that the government is going to come in and try to hold them accountable. So, yeah, I mean, it's not even a question.
It's mailing a bomb. Men and women in law enforcement, not going to happen anymore. It's a new day, and we're coming after you.
Yeah. That is incredible, AJ. All right, let me get your take on something else, which a lot of people were emailing me about and talking to me about when they heard that you were coming on the show. The MAGA group is mad that they don't know more about the Epstein files.
True.
The MAGA group is mad that they don't know more about the January 6th investigation. Are you going to give us any more information on these two issues?
Sure. And first to the Epstein.
Sure.
I'm mad that I didn't have more information on Epstein. I was given 200 pages of documents. I've asked Director Patel. He came in after that, of course. I had asked for those documents prior to Cash coming in. Cash is going to get me all the information. I've asked him to find out why I didn't receive all those documents and he didn't receive all those documents.
Not enough. If the people are not doing it, you hold them with obstruction of justice. All of this roach behavior stops instantaneously the moment that people are held individually accountable on a criminal level. You do that, this stuff evaporates. Instantly it goes away. They won't? Yeah, because they're pussies. That's the reason why. And I guarantee you, like, if you did this, it would go away. Make an example out of someone? Yes, exactly. Which begs the question, why won't they? I think that a lot of people, and this is something that people like this, they have a degree, they want to be nice about it. They want to be reasonable about it. But I think being reasonable about it towards people like this that are actively trying to, like, obstruct you, this is basically just enabling them to do it later on.
Now found out, of course, that they were in New York. We've received truckload of documents of evidence, and Cash is going to give me a deadline on when he can go through that, to protect, of course, the victims of sex trafficking who are wrapped into this. And he's going to give me a deadline on when he can get this, and we will get out as much as we can, as fast as we can, to the American people, because they deserve to know. Same with January 6th. We're all working on JFK right now. We will be working on Martin Luther King. All of these things that the president promised, we will be doing. They can try to hide documents from us, but they can't. Might take a little longer. We will find them, and we will release them to the American people, because it's transparency.
I mean, we want to know if there was criminality during the during COVID and January 6th. I mean, on January 6th, there was speculation that they destroyed documents. Did they destroy documents, the January 6th Commission?
Maria, we are looking into all of that. Nothing is off the table.
And in terms of
Except for
COVID and
accountability.
all of the thousands of people working with social media to try to censor Americans' information during the COVID era?
Yeah. Everything's being looked at. Everything is on the table. Maria, again, it was the ultimate weaponization, what they did, things that were hidden from the American people. But it's a new day. Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. We are all acting at his directive, and America will be transparent again as well.
Well, we love it. AG will be watching for this conference later when the president comes to the DOJ. We so appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, America's Attorney General Pam Bondi.
I will believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.